Welcome, the learner. We are really glad you're joining us today for this deep dive.
Yeah, it's great to have you here.
So, I want you to picture the situation in your head. You and a really good friend are trying to build a new piece of IKEA furniture together.
Oh, the ultimate relationship test, right?
Right, exactly. But there's this massive problem. You are holding the instruction manual for, like, a large bookshelf,
Okay.
but your friend is holding the instruction manual for a bed.
Oh, no. That's a disaster.
Yeah, totally. And you are both looking at the exact same pieces of wood on the floor. You're using the exact same tools, yet you are completely failing to build anything together.
Well, in that scenario, your brain, it starts to make assumptions
How do you mean?
because you don't actually know they have a different manual.
Yeah.
You start to believe your friend is making mistakes on purpose, you know. You assume they're just ignoring the clear rules right in front of them.
Oh, yeah. You look at them and think, like, why are you making this so difficult? But the reality is, they aren't trying to ruin the afternoon. They are simply following a totally different book. And today, we are opening up probably one of the most famous instruction manuals for human relationships ever published.
We really are.
We're taking a look at a book from 1992 that sold, get this, over 50 million copies. Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus by John Gray.
50 million. I mean, that makes it one of the most popular nonfiction books in human history.
It's wild.
It really is. It entirely reshaped the cultural conversation around love and stress and, well, communication in general.
So our mission for this deep dive is to explore exactly why this book had such a huge impact on how we talk about relationships.
Right.
But, because the world has changed a lot in the last 30 years, we also really need to examine its ideas through a modern lens.
Which is very important to do.
Absolutely. So the core idea of the book is actually pretty straightforward. The author argues that men and women react to stress and communicate in fundamentally different ways.
Right, they speak different languages, basically.
Yeah. And the main takeaway is that most relationship conflicts don't happen because people are cruel or mean.
No, not at all.
They happen because we just completely misunderstand these differences.
Yeah, and to understand how these misunderstandings escalate, we kind of need to look at that concept of different emotional languages.
Okay, let's get into that.
So the book suggests that women often use what it calls a language of exaggeration.
Exaggeration, like blowing things out of proportion.
Well, it's more about using absolute words, words like always, never, or everything.
Oh, okay.
A common example the book gives is saying something like, you never listen to me, or we never do anything fun anymore.
Right. And if we look at the literal words there, that sounds like a direct attack, doesn't it?
It does. It sounds like a factual accusation.
But the book explains that this isn't like a literal data report. When someone says, we never do anything fun, they aren't actually asking you to review the calendar for the last 6 months.
Exactly. They don't want a spreadsheet of your date nights.
Right. They're expressing a deep present emotion. The real translation is something closer to, I feel disconnected from you right now, and I want to feel close.
Yes. It's pure feeling, not a statement of fact.
But the conflict happens because...
Because, according to this framework, men often use a language of solutions.
A language of solutions. Okay, break that down for me.
So when a person who uses this solution language hears the phrase, you never listen, they process it as a literal practical problem.
A problem that requires fixing.
Exactly. And they might also process it as an unfair critique of their performance.
Oh, I see. So they get defensive.
Yeah, they defend their record.
Yeah.
They point out that, hey, I listened to you for an hour just yesterday.
Right. They're responding to the dictionary definition of the words and totally missing the emotional request underneath.
Precisely. And when someone shares a complaint like, I had a terrible day at work, the solution-oriented person immediately tries to fix the problem.
They want to be helpful.
They do. They might outline a 5-step plan for talking to the boss the next morning. But the result is usually a disaster.
Because the person complaining feels entirely unheard.
Right. They just wanted empathy. They wanted a partner to say, wow, that sounds really tough.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the person who offered the advice feels rejected because their practical help just wasn't appreciated.
Exactly.
Okay, let's unpack this for a second. It's It's exactly like trying to plug a USB cable into an HDMI port.
Ooh, that's a good way to put it.
Right. Both cables have a really good purpose. Both are actively trying to connect, but the signal is completely incompatible.
And pushing harder just breaks the machine.
Exactly. But I do want to push back on the book here a little bit.
Sure, go ahead.
Categorizing this strictly as, men speak this way and women speak that way, it feels like a major stereotype to me.
It definitely can feel that way.
Yeah, because I know many women who will build a spreadsheet of solutions the absolute moment you mention a problem.
Oh, absolutely. Same here.
And I know plenty of men who just need to vent their feelings and be heard.
Yeah, that's a very common observation. And to be fair, even the author notes that these are broad tendencies, not absolute rigid rules.
Okay, that's fair.
Anyone can use either language. The real value of the text isn't really about assigning a gender to the behavior.
What is it about then?
The value is recognizing that these two incompatible languages simply exist, which brings us to a concept we can call the golden rule of the book.
Oh, the golden rule. I like the sound of that. What is it?
The moment your partner starts sharing a problem, you should stop, take a breath, and ask one specific question.
Which is?
Do you want to be heard right now, or do you need advice?
Oh, wow. That is brilliant.
It really is, isn't it?
Because it clarifies the goal before the conversation even really begins. It stops the miscommunication instantly.
Exactly. It sets the ground rules.
So this disconnect in how we speak leads directly to how we physically react when stress builds up.
It does.
Which brings us to the famous pop culture metaphors of the 1990s. The cave, the rubber band, and the wave.
These are iconic.
Let's start with the cave. Can you explain that one?
Sure. So the cave metaphor describes how certain people, often men, in the book's framework, handle high stress.
Okay.
Instead of wanting to discuss the problem, they physically or emotionally pull away. They retreat into silence to just process the issue alone.
Now, the sources explain that this is not meant to be a punishment, right? It's not like giving someone the silent treatment.
No, not at all. It's actually a biological response.
Oh.
To understand why this happens, we have to look at the nervous system.
Oh, interesting. How so?
Well, when a person is highly stressed, their body releases adrenaline. Their brain basically enters a mild fight-or-flight state.
Right, survival mode.
Yeah. And for a person who uses the cave strategy, speaking and processing language takes way too much cognitive energy.
They just don't have the bandwidth for it.
Exactly. They require external silence to lower their heart rate and bring their stress hormones back down to a normal level.
But the challenge is that the partner outside the cave views this silence as a rejection.
Oh, completely. They feel locked out and disconnected.
So what do? They try to fix the situation by forcing communication.
Right. They knock on the emotional door and ask, "What's wrong? Please tell me what is wrong."
Which is like the absolute worst thing you can do.
It really is.
It forces the person in the cave to expend energy they just don't have, which increases their stress even more.
Exactly.
The sources offer a very clear tip here, though. Instead of demanding an answer, you just say, "I'm here if you want to talk."
Yes.
And then you walk away and give them 20 minutes of total space. You let their nervous system calm down.
And that number is specific. 20 minutes is generally the biological time required for the physical symptoms of acute stress to actually decrease.
Wow, so it's literal biology.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, that brings us to the rubber band metaphor.
Right, the rubber band.
This one deals with the natural rhythm of intimacy. In any relationship, a person naturally needs to pull away and create some emotional distance occasionally.
Yes.
It's like stretching a rubber band. If you allow them to create that distance, the tension naturally builds and eventually they snap back to you.
Right. And this highlights the psychological conflict between autonomy and connection.
Autonomy meaning the need for space and independence.
Exactly. Humans have this deep need to feel connected to others, but we also have a deep need to feel like independent individuals.
That makes sense.
The rubber band stretching is simply the need for autonomy taking the lead for a short time.
But if a partner panics and chases after them...
Then the rubber band loses all its tension. There's no pull bringing them back.
Ah, I see. And the book describes a female equivalent to this, called the wave.
Yes, the wave.
It suggests that emotional states naturally rise and fall. When a person is feeling great, the wave is high. But eventually, the wave crashes to the bottom and everything feels terrible.
And the key insight here is that the bottom of the wave is just a temporary phase of processing emotion.
It's not a permanent disaster.
Right. Some individuals process complex emotions by experiencing them fully.
So trying to fix the bottom of the wave with logic just interrupts the emotional process.
Exactly. You just have to sit beside them and wait for the wave to rise again naturally.
But bringing a modern perspective to all this, I see a huge danger here.
What's that?
Well, giving someone space is great, but waiting for someone to come out of their cave sounds like a perfect excuse for accepting terrible behavior.
Ah, yes, that raises a really critical point.
I mean, what if they just never come out?
Well, the book assumes the relationship is fundamentally healthy, and that both people genuinely care for each other.
Right.
However, chronic avoidance is not a natural stress cycle.
Okay, so there's a difference.
A big difference. If someone constantly uses the cave to ignore their partner, or if they never return to actually communicate, that is emotional unavailability.
Yeah, that's toxic.
It is. The cave is supposed to be a temporary retreat for a nervous system reset, not a permanent living arrangement to avoid responsibility.
That is a very, very important distinction to make.
Definitely.
Now, assuming they do come out of the cave in a healthy way, how do we rebuild that connection?
Well, that's the tricky part.
Because the deep dive sources point out that we usually fail at this. We try to fulfill needs our partner doesn't actually have.
Right. The paradox of human needs is that we instinctively offer the kind of love we want to receive.
Oh, that makes so much sense. We just assume our partner processes affection exactly the way we do.
Exactly.
Like, if I feel deeply loved when someone cooks me a complicated dinner, I will try to show my love by cooking for my partner.
Right.
But what if my partner doesn't care about food at all? What if they just want me to turn off the television and ask about their day?
And you're spending hours cooking a dinner they don't need, and they are feeling completely ignored.
Which is so frustrating for both people.
It really is. You're broadcasting love on a frequency they are not equipped to receive.
Yeah.
And the book breaks this down by suggesting men and women prioritize different types of love.
What are the differences?
Well, according to the framework, men prioritize trust, acceptance, and approval.
Okay.
Women prioritize care, understanding, and validation.
Oh, wow. This totally explains why giving unsolicited advice causes so much friction.
How so?
Think about it. If a man's core psychological need is to feel trusted and capable, and you jump in to solve a problem for him, he doesn't feel supported.
Right.
He feels undermined. He hears the message, I don't trust you to manage your own life.
Exactly. The intention was to show care, but the action violated his need for competence.
Right.
And similarly, if a woman's primary need is to feel understood and validated, and a man tries to quickly fix her bad mood with practical solutions, she feels dismissed.
Her need to have her feelings acknowledged is completely bypassed.
Exactly. And this mismatch leads to one of the most surprising concepts in our notes today.
Oh, you mean keeping score?
Yes, the point system.
This blew my mind. The book states that women often maintain an internal emotional score where every single gesture counts as exactly 1 point.
1 point, no matter what.
Right. The financial cost or the physical size of the gesture does not change the value. It is always 1 point.
Which, to a mind that doesn't operate on this system, seems completely illogical.
Totally. Because a massive, incredibly expensive holiday to a tropical island equals 1 point.
Yep.
But a tiny handwritten note left on the kitchen counter also equals 1 point.
Exactly. To the person keeping this score, the frequency of the gestures matters much more than the size.
Why is that? Exactly.
We can understand this through the psychology of emotional permanence.
Emotional permanence, okay.
For a person using this scoring system, love is demonstrated through continuous presence.
Ah.
A massive gesture proves love on Monday, sure, but it doesn't guarantee emotional safety on Thursday.
Oh, that makes sense.
Right. Small, frequent signals of care actively maintain the security of the relationship day to day.
But men often don't realize this system exists.
No, they often operate on a completely different system.
Yeah, a man might buy a giant, expensive gift and believe he just earned 50 points.
Because he views relationship effort as an energy transaction.
Exactly. He spent a huge amount of energy, so he feels he's earned a long period of rest.
He believes his emotional bank account is full.
Right. But to his partner, that gift was just 1 point. And the next morning, the score resets to 0.
It's a recipe for disaster.
It is. So he thinks he has 49 points remaining and can just relax on the couch while she thinks the score is 0 and he is ignoring her.
And this is exactly how resentment builds quietly over time.
Yeah. But the practical tip here is very clear.
What's the tip?
If you notice this happening, change your strategy. Stop aiming for one giant gesture a month.
Right.
Try doing 3 small gestures every single day. Make a cup of coffee, send a short text message just to say hello, ask a thoughtful question.
Shifting to this approach requires you to basically perform an audit of your love language.
And audit. I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, it forces you to step off autopilot and ask, am I speaking a language my partner actually understands?
Which is huge.
And that principle applies to romantic partners, close friends, and family members alike.
Am I speaking your language? It is such a powerful question.
It really is.
But, as we look at this text from the perspective of today, we have to talk about the obvious limitations.
Yes, we definitely do.
Applying a strict male and female point system feels very difficult in the year 2024.
It does. A
Yeah.
critical evaluation of the source material is absolutely necessary here.
Right.
Our understanding of society, gender, and individual psychology has evolved immensely since 1992.
Definitely. I mean, the biggest limitation is the title of the book itself. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus.
It relies on a very rigid binary.
Exactly. 2 planets, 2 categories. It doesn't account for LGBTQ plus relationships. It ignores non-binary identities.
Right.
And frankly, it ignores how much variety exists within a single person.
Oh, completely.
Depending on the stress of the day, sometimes I need the cave and sometimes I need to talk for 3 hours straight.
And modern academic research actually supports your observation there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Linguists and sociologists have extensively studied these communication gaps over the last few decades.
What have they found?
Well, Deborah Tannen, she's a prominent linguist in this field, she points out a fascinating detail.
Okay.
Her research shows that the communication differences within a single gender group are often larger than the differences between 2 different gender groups.
Oh, wow. Wait, really?
Yeah.
So a group of 5 random men might communicate more differently from each other than they do from a group of women.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
The patterns John Gray highlights in the book, like the language of solutions or the need to retreat, those are very real behaviors.
Right, we all recognize them.
We do. However, academic critics argue that these patterns are the result of cultural socialization, not inherent biology.
Ah. It's about how we are raised, not our DNA.
Precisely. It's nurture, not nature.
Well, right, because for generations, society has trained young boys on the playground to, hide vulnerable emotions and just fix problems to appear strong.
Yes. And at the same time, society has trained young girls to share their feelings, prioritize community, and seek understanding.
So the culture we grow up in actually writes the instruction manual we use as adults.
Exactly. We don't arrive from different planets.
We just grow up in different classrooms.
That's a great way to put it.
So what does this all mean for the listener?
That's the big question.
If the strict gender categories are outdated and the origins are more about society than biology, do we just throw the book away?
Well, our sources suggest we don't.
Why not?
Because the core lesson beneath all the 90s metaphors remains incredibly useful.
And what is that enduring lesson?
It's empathy.
Empathy.
Yeah. It is the realization that when a partner or a friend reacts in a way that seems strange to you, they're probably not being malicious.
They aren't trying to start a fight.
No. They just process the world through a different instruction manual.
And recognizing that fact gives you a crucial moment to pause.
Exactly. Instead of reacting with immediate anger, you can observe the behavior.
You can step back and say, hey, they are overwhelmed and retreating to calm their nervous system. They just need space.
Right. It creates a buffer between their action and your emotional reaction.
It gives you the emotional distance to not take their reaction as a personal insult.
And if we distill this entire deep dive down to a single principle, it is this.
Lay it on me.
Most conflicts in daily life are not actually about the surface problem.
Oh, really?
Yeah. When 2 people argue about the laundry or, a delayed text message, they are rarely arguing about those physical things.
What are they arguing about then?
They're arguing about a misunderstood emotional need.
Oh, we are just speaking different languages and wondering why the other person doesn't understand.
Exactly. A partner who seems difficult is often just a partner who needs a different vocabulary.
That makes so much sense.
Learning to pause and ask, what do you need right now? And then truly listening to the answer is far more effective than any complex argument strategy.
Do you need to be heard or do you need advice?
Exactly. It really changes the entire dynamic.
It totally does. Well, this has been a genuinely fascinating deep dive.
It has been a lot of fun.
We have explored the language of emotions versus the language of solutions. We examined the biology and psychology behind the cave, the rubber band, and the wave.
We analyze the emotional point system.
Right, and we looked at how cultural socialization shapes these patterns in our modern world. So thank you to you, the listener, for exploring this material with us.
Yes, the real value of exploring these sources is taking the insights and actually applying them to the real world.
Absolutely. And before we finish, we want to leave you with one specific question to think about today.
Okay.
Look closely at the relationships in your own life right now. Which pattern from our discussion did you instantly recognize in yourself?
Do you run to the cave or do you jump straight to offering solutions?
And what would change in your life if, the next time you feel that instinct, you simply named it out loud?
Just imagine how much tension disappears when someone simply says, "Hey, I'm feeling overwhelmed and I need to retreat to my cave for 20 minutes."
It takes all of the negative power away from the misunderstanding.
It really does.
So the next time you feel like you and a friend are trying to build that IKEA furniture and absolutely nothing is making sense, just stop.
Take a breath.
Check which instruction manual the other person is reading from. You might be very surprised by what you find. Thanks for joining us, and we will catch you on the next deep dive.